Hi everyone, I'm recording a poem read by myself after a really long time. Challenges in life, especially personal, but challenges that are feminist ultimately because they stand for truth and justice, have kept me very busy and away from something I love, which is sharing my poetry orally through performance and so on with you. This is not going to be one of the slick videos because normally my partner helps me create those. He's busy too, but I don't think something like that ought to keep me from sharing with you poetry, which I think is so critical, not just because it's my voice, but because it speaks about things that don't seem to be changing or not enough, or when they are changing, they've already cost us and cost some people too much, right? So today in my class, I had a wonderful class thanks to a lot of very interesting things that came up from my students. We also were talking about gender-based violence because we were talking about partition literature, and we were talking about feminist historiography and how to excavate, as it were, or how to listen to women's voices through silences, because I'm told that women speak all the time, and there is no role for feminism or feminist historiography, but it becomes increasingly apparent in the deeply violent world that we live in that it is the most important thing, because not only is it training us is to listen to women who may speak differently, who may speak through silences and slippages and erasures, right, through stigma and through fear. But it's also, the only kind of ideology or belief or conviction that speaks for justice for everybody. After class, interestingly, I also reported that a young 19-year-old man in Tamil Nadu had set his partner on fire because he was angry, right? And we were talking about this in class as well. We were talking about who is entitled to anger and what legitimate forms that anger can take, right? So if I am angry, I am allowed to write, maybe not even that, maybe there isn't enough a room for angry poetry or angry words. Maybe there are spaces that do not encourage or allow for women's anger to manifest. And if it is to manifest, it must be contained and presented in a way that it is, palatable and palpable. In a courtroom, the judge has the right to be angry, but a woman who is called upon to fight her own case, her own truth, may have no room to show that anger. In class, it may be the same. In a situation of intimate violence, it is often the same. And recently there were convicted rapists who have been released with a judge's verdict that said that what they did was in the heat of the moment. They're not hardened criminals, right? Heat of the moment. And heats of moments seem to be male prerogatives. So I have a poem. A lot of my poem is angry, not because I am an angry woman, although I don't mind being called that either. I don't want to necessarily fight that definition, but it's not mine to own, at least. But there is a lot of anger in me about who is the victim of entitled anger and who is not allowed what I would think is just anger, right? There is an anger that is also righteous, that is fair anger, and then there is an anger which is, lot of men are allowed this entitlement, and it can cause harm rather than speak for somebody or ask for us to look at something differently, as just anger may. So I want to share this poem. I am sharing it in the context of that violent burning incident where a young 19-year-old man feels so entitled to his anger that he can douse a woman in petrol and light her on fire. Yeah. And at the same time, women are told that your anger has no place, don't be angry, But I'm telling you through this poem, and I'm speaking about, and I'm asking, why is there no room for women's anger in society? Okay? And what that anger would achieve were we to discard patriarchal warnings about not being angry and so on. And if we recognize that anger for what it is truly, looked it in the face and used it as a guide to work for a better world, to work for justice. So this is called Just Anger. It is from my book, When the Flowers Begin to Speak, published by Writers Workshop, as many of you already listening in know. So it's on page 51. It's called Just Anger. Anger that does not necessarily douse somebody and light them on fire, but it may bring another kind of fire. One that may light a path, one that may ask for faith, and one that may keep burning to take you forward. Just anger. Gather your anger close. Don't hurl it at those who have not done you harm, for you will harm. Gather like a hunter, a forager, your scattered fury and carry it home. Strike the sticks and see it burn. Light that fire under revolution's urn. Let its heat scald your tongue and crevice your bones. Look at the shape of your anger as it takes myriad forms. Just anger, when allowed to rage, will always fuel a rebirth. Do not pay heed to those who ask you to forget your past or your present oppression. They have not been violated like you. They do not know your grief. They have not witnessed how your home grew fingers and scratched at your skin, how you were spat upon or left to heave back into life again after power had had its way with you. They do not live in your bleeding truths. Plant anger's seething seeds in your soul instead. In your soul. There's always room for more. If you can hold your anger and know that it is closely allied to love. Gardens are not grown from water alone. Fire, rot, heat, all play their role. Just anger is the strongest clarion call to fight tooth and nail and your lost dignity reclaim. To write history's repeating course, so you and many like you will bleed no more. Just anger will turn manure to the garden of change. It will nurture a cure. It will ask questions of those who sustain and water wrong. But it must first simmer and glow. Make parts of you come asunder, should you give it a dam, and build for its bursting waters a canal. It will flood your heart with poetry. It will lay eggs of gold. It will fester first, but from the rot will grow a harvest of arms, so you may battle long and avenge your harm. So you may begin the long and bountiful journey of descent. to which memory and anger shall remain comrades. Remember that you must first let anger in when it's banging against your soul, and learn to listen to what its embers are whispering. Trace with your trembling fingers the cross weave of its source. You have to burn before you see your own light. And then it's a glow, and then it's fire. And then it carves through the darkness a meteoric shower, so you may reclaim all you had, so you may set alight an unknown path where you walk. Don't reject your anger. It will turn a ghost and howl at your door. Anger without a place will turn a summer cold. It will re-emerge to strike the ones who did no wrong. Just anger denied will birth hate and inundate with pride. Just anger denied will turn you blind. So gather your anger close, ask where it has come from and where it must go. And at the moment that you find yourself losing all your bearings and don't know which way is home, you will soon find that the righteous fire has borne a blazing forest path where you had sown your seeds of just wrath. Thank you for listening. This is a poem about just wrath, just anger, because women too, the marginalized too, are allowed anger, and anger as entitlement may destroy, but anger as righteous reaction, response to all that is wrong may free you, may untie, may light a path. So it was very important for me to share this poem with you today because of what I witnessed, what I spoke about in class, and how often I see that, or I feel that we censor our own anger as women. We need not do that at all. We have every right to be angry and to remain angry. And that kind of anger, that black heat, that white heat, that fiery red heat, that's burning in your soul, that can bring in the change that we deserve, right? That you deserve. So thank you for listening to my poem, and I hope to be able to share some more with you soon.